Hello, this is Yehna.
And this is Jessie.
We are so excited about this episode. And yes, I was going to give you a preview, but we're going to go straight to it. We wrestle through so many different questions, and we wanted to invite you and elaborate more on the question of what values should we look for in a serious relationship? Okay, so welcome and join us
At
at the
the
table.
table.
Oh man, I'm not gonna lie. When I read that, I kind of cringed, but it's okay. We'll explain more. I couldn't think of a better
No, that was good. That was
question.
good. This is a continuation from our last episode of What is a Serious Relationship? And as Yana and I have had time to process some of our previous relationships or even friendships or even seeing TCK friendships and relationships, we were like, we started talking. We had like a
Mm-hmm.
2 hour pre processing session, just trying to, I don't know, talk about life, catch up. And then these three things came up. And these
Mm-hmm.
are not just like the top three values. These are just prominent values that we have found common ground on and really want to shed light to. By all means, this is not like the must, the list or whatever.
Exactly.
It's not like a guideline, but it's, I don't know, it's just what we think. So, or
Hopefully,
yeah,
makes you think too.
yeah, hopefully it makes you think. And we would want to know other values that you have that
Mm,
we haven't thought of or talked about. And these are just the top three that we've been talking about recently that we've found really important in our lives.
yes.
So the three values are initiation, posture to learn, and good listener. Let's expand on this. Number
Here.
one, initiation. What specifically do you mean by initiation for you, Yana?
Mm-hmm. So, initiation. This I put this as the top one, mainly because it's been the most prominent and the longest lasting value that I kept in all of my childhood and adulthood. And this one usually is referring really to starting conversations and initiating, basically
Mm.
extending the welcome to be like, hey, why don't we be friends? And this is whether it's like a large gathering or you see someone kind of in a corner by themselves. It's just like anything, initiating conversations about what's on your mind when you think about that person. And so, honestly, this one for me, for a long time, I wrestled with it, not like sleepless nights, but it was on my mind because it felt selfish initially because it kind of sounded, because this is my weakness. I need someone who could do
Mm,
a
mhm.
filler thing. I'm bad at it, so you be good at it. Because
Like
I'm not
some
athletic, you need to be athletic, kind of thing.
someone who will balance me out and compliment me.
Exactly. And
Mm,
but the more I think about it, it's almost, I felt a lot more peace about it because I had to in turn reflect on my strengths and the gifts God gave me. And so for me, for so long, I was almost ashamed of not being able to initiate well. I almost, not almost, I even told a lie of it's because I'm not curious enough about others, or I don't love
mm,
well. So therefore, I'm not good at initiating. But
mm,
by the grace of God, he really revealed that my strength may not be in having a ton of questions for others to feel welcome, but I find that cringe, but I can hold space for others and I can create that safe space. Essentially, I would love to find someone who can open the door to welcome them into the safe space.
mm.
So it's almost as like complimentary duo thing. LOL. But yeah.
I like that you really emphasize that I was able to see my strengths and
Mm,
focus on that instead of what I lack or what I don't do enough of.
mm,
And I also like how you said this to me, I think in a different conversation of I am good at looking from the outside in. And
mm,
that is so important too, than having someone in the room. It's just as
right.
important. And your strength really is to read a room and to make people feel seen in a way that's not always words, questions,
Mm.
affirmations. It's just the presence that you already bring. So yeah. Ooh,
LOL.
I love how you said that.
Because I think about it a little too much. But I
Well,
think,
and
yeah, sorry.
I was gonna say that's why our friendship is so nice because
Mm,
you hold that space, and I feel like I am that other friend
it's
that does that initiating.
it's so true. I mean, I'm definitely gonna elaborate more on that, but it's really it comes down to I really hope they have the strength to see the importance of being the first brave person to make that step because they see that they need it. Anyway, so many things.
Interesting. Because
Mhm.
yeah, for you it's that someone who will open the door. For me, it's I'm always the initiator. Like I'm
Mhm.
always making plans. I'm always, communicating first. And I don't mind that, but when it comes to a relationship, I
Mm.
overthink and I get shy, and I appreciate when someone can pull me because I also know that knowing myself, like I can get controlling or want to know things or to figure out things immediately. And I know that I have the tendency to want to control the pace. And so if I'm always taking the lead, then yeah, I just need to be able to let go. And in
Mm.
order for me to let go and just let things play, like run its course, I need that other person to help me set that pace
Right. It's
because I'm
kind
just
of
going to want to
like
set it. Yeah.
yeah, it's like they want to initiate the space to see that you matter in the room outside of what you do.
Ooh, whoa. That's a whole,
It
ah,
just
that's so
made me
true.
reflect on kind of we were kind of talking about our wings, and I was thinking like, sometimes you think too much about the relationship, you forget that you're a part of that relationship.
Yeah, so true.
So you want that person to initiate that conversation with you to say, hey, you're part of this equation.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Mm.
Wow. A yena enneagram session
Sorry,
here.
I was just like, that's
Whoa,
so good.
love it. That is so good. Thank you for saying that because yeah, you just put words to what I've been feeling and things that I actually need in a
Hmm.
relationship. But the second point is posture to learn. Whew, this has been a huge one for us,
Honest,
especially with the TCK stuff. But
exactly. And honestly, this one's a big shout out to one of our friends. Her name is Promise, and she, at least for me, she's the one who initially talked about this with me. And I think you were there
mm,
too. And I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
that makes so much sense. That phrase put so much sense to what I wanted in not just like obviously, yes, in a spouse, but just in all of my friendships. What did I value? It's that self reflective piece and that desire to learn from others to
Mm,
better fit in the mold of community.
yeah.
Anyway,
And I like how you said community because it's not
mm,
just about how they fit into my life and understand me. It's
yeah,
in a space.
exactly. In a space
Mm,
basically to live together
mm,
as children of God, you know?
yeah. Especially as TCKs, like being, or at least a lot of TCKs that I know, being so closed off or having so many walls,
Mm,
when you're able to show that you have a posture to understand their heart and to see them and to make
mm,
them feel known, that is going to bring walls down. Because so often, and this is sad to say, but when people see, especially I feel like in American culture, it's so ironic, but when people see different, they don't know how to operate or they don't know how to navigate that interaction
so true.
because they're like, well, what do I talk about? There's no common ground here.
Mm,
But really having a global mindset, it's no, that's awesome. Tell me more. And I feel like that's where a lot of TCKs feel that gap of, oof, I'm different. And it's just, that's it. There's no
mm-hmm,
further, well, tell me more. Why are you that way? Or what
mm-hmm.
made you that way? And when someone does that, ooh, it's like, okay, this person's different. I
I
can,
know.
I can open up a little bit.
Or when they play that in relations to what how they see the world, not comparing, but how would that look like side by side? Oh my God. Are they inviting me into their life? And
Big plus.
big, oh, that's
Big
anyway,
plus.
my heart going pitta patta right now. God,
Especially for non-TCKs to be able to do that, I think that's so respectable.
tears rolling down. I swear. It's so true. And yeah, because that goes into initiating the space for you to enter in. to a wider lens of community, saying, hey, just because you have a different story doesn't mean you're an outsider. It's because you have a different story, I want to see the world the way you see it. And honestly, vice versa, I need to also have that posture to see, okay, just because they see the world differently than I do doesn't also mean that I and them are not part of the equation together.
Yeah, totally, totally.
And it, sorry, keep
Keep
going.
going, keep
No,
going.
you keep going, because I'm going to switch over.
I was gonna switch over. Oh my gosh, I was
I
gonna switch
love
over
that.
too.
You
But
go
in
first.
order to do that, you need to be a good listener.
It's so true.
And lately, we've been weeding out what does it mean to be a good listener? Because people can think they're being a good listener by masking it with, oh, we're just like we're taking turns. I'm not
Mm,
interrupting you. We're having a back and forth conversation. But a lot of the times, people listen so that they can insert what they're thinking, or they listen so that, yeah, they can just get their word out. And that's not listening. You need to listen to understand, not to listen to add input. And it's so easy to distinguish that, at least for me.
you could see it in their body language and their facial expression. Ugh. And it really boils down to humility. Because honestly, I struggle with this too. Because sometimes I'm like, why do they think like that? Because sometimes I feel like their perspective is so narrow. I try to insert and hopefully widen their perspective, and I think I'm helping contribute something. But in reality, I'm just saying, you need to be better. But in the same way, I think it's also my defense mechanism, or someone else is saying, I need you to hear me out. I need you to hear me out. But really soaking in, really wanting to feel and see and experience what the other person might have felt and seen, and really just taking what they saw and felt as is and being like, wow, that's amazing. And then kind of basing off of that rather than occupying your headspace of, okay, what can I say next about this?
Yeah, it's
Has been
just seeing
huge.
that person's heart and listening to, yeah, make them feel seen and known.
And it's so interesting because we also saw this, at least for me, as I was writing through these values, and like kind of epiphany I had with Jessie and other of my female friends is each and one of these has been encouraged and almost inspired by all of the values that I found and kept within each of my friendships. And I was just saying this literally as I was pressing record for the Zoom. As I was looking through all of the episodes we posted, it's coming full circle for me because we started with family, TCK background, Wheaton experience, aka friendship relationship navigation in relationships in relation to what we experienced in our past. And then we go on to talking about churches and communities. And then now we're talking about our future relationship. And I truly believe if it wasn't for the healing that we did starting from number one, we could not have come to this, because I will never have a healthy view of future spouse until I've healed and worked on and been humbled and broken in my view of family, my view of church, my view of friendship. And obviously, this is going to be a forever lesson.
And it's seriously like God's grace that has allowed us to have these realizations, but also the people that He's placed in our lives that have shown these three qualities in our friendships.
It's so true.
And have built us up, helped us process, given us a safe space. It's almost like a shout out to all of our girlfriends here that have been there to model this for us and know that it is possible to have this depth of knownness and love.
Yeah. And God allowed that. And He wants that. And there's no reason to be ashamed of placing these values when you look at relationships, not even just romantic relationships, friendships in your family, in your church.
Yeah, 100%.
There's just so much power in knowing you can place value in all of these. And it's not just because, how do I say this? Not focusing on what we lack, what we did wrong and completely breaking that cycle of shame and upholding each other with dignity. Anyway, I'm just going on because it's just so amazing to see how far, at least for myself, I've come when I view relationships in general. Because I really thought I would be better off alone. And and now I say that I'm like, LOL, yet I can't. You had no idea. But because even going into college, I was so scared of being attached to a person because that's just gonna make me a weaker person because it's gonna hurt me. And that's all I thought about. Like, oh, I'm just gonna be a burden, or they're gonna be a burden to me. And oh my goodness. But little did I know God had so many different plans for me. And thank the Lord, because I had no idea what I was talking about. Anyway.
Yeah, he's really rebuilt these bricks for us, and the fact that you can even come on here and say, yeah, these are the things I value and I feel like I deserve. Like that's huge to say. So whoever is out there, please show up.
LOL, as one of my friends said, God, can you just give me the tracking number, please? Thank you.
Too good.
Anyway, obviously this is gonna be an ongoing thing because we're still young and we're still learning and all of those things. And this will probably be revised, but I also believe that these values won't change, at least for myself and probably for Jessie as well. Anyway, I hope that you can take this as some reflection pieces for yourself to think about, ooh, how am I viewing my friendships? How am I viewing my relationship with my family or church? And even maybe your current romantic relationship or your future, knowing that God has died for you for a reason, and because he sees you as beloved. And I think we should learn and build ourselves accordingly. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. And we are on Spotify and on YouTube. And we are updating all our posts on Instagram. Thank you for being with us on this journey. And I'm very excited to continue sharing with you all in our next episode. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.